Right, Rachel, who are you? Where are we?
So my name's Rachel Frame. I am the senior archaeologist for the Magna project, and we are trenchside at our 2025 excavations.
Okay, is this your first year on site, second, third, or?
This is our third year on site.
What about you?
I've been here since the start of the project.
Oh, have you?
Yes,
okay.
So I joined the Vindolanda Trust in 2023 to start the Magna project. So I've been here since day one of the excavations, and I will be here until the bitter end.
Okay, so where are we on this particular project?
Yeah, certainly we are located just outside Magna Fort. So behind me at the south end of our trench, we've got this nice sort of high ridge running through the site. That is where the north wall of the fort used to be.
Okay.
And we are excavating north of the fort to uncover the defensive ditches. So in front of us here, we've got the team in the second of the ditches. We're also currently working in the first of those ditches, which is the dip beyond us. And these guys right here have just started this week uncovering the third of the fort ditches. So this sort of blank area of soil here in front of us is the very top fill of the third defensive ditch of Magna Fort. We've got a little row of cobbles marking the divide between ditch 2 and ditch 3. Some of these guys are finding the row of cobbles over here between ditch 3 and ditch 4 should be out in that area we're not currently working on.
Okay, so just let me get this right then.
Yeah.
So the fort was over there?
Yes, do you want to start down there and
just
have a walk?
So and you'd have 3 ditches, what, just like defensive ditches?
Yes. So Roman forts always have a sequence of defensive ditches outside of them. Depends which side of the fort you're on and which fort you are, exactly how many ditches they want to put in.
Yeah.
So we're now here at the first fort ditch. So
right.
The ridge running through there, that's sort of a more orangey colour, is all that's left of the fort wall. Unfortunately, the residents of this landscape in more recent periods decided to harvest all of the stone from the fort and from Hadrian's Wall.
You mean rob it?
Yes.
Harvest.
They went for, why would I go quarry my own stone
when
there's all this nicely dressed stone just lying around in my fields catching my plough blades every time I try to farm the landscape. So when we talk about the fort wall, we kind of have to ask people to use their imagination.
Okay, so how big would that wall be?
A couple of metres tall, a couple of metres wide, substantially sort of up in the landscape.
And the fort went all along over there?
Yes, so all of the sheep up on this platform are the current occupying legion inside our fort. This north wall runs along here. The corner of it is just in front of that large sycamore tree. So that's the northwest corner. The northeast corner is just here next to this little modern concrete structure in the farm field.
So why have you dug here? Why are you digging here, not in the fort?
We're going into the fort next. So for the last 2 years of the project, we will be digging inside the fort. But the Magna project wants to investigate not just the fort and the Roman archaeology, but also the wider surrounding landscape and also climate change and its impact on buried archaeology.
Well, this is why you've got the funding, isn't it?
Yes.
Because National Lottery give you $5 million because the archaeology could be damaged due to loss of water.
I wish they'd given us 5 million. It was 1 million that we got instead.
Boo, come on, National Lottery. Fingers crossed, do that with your fingers. I thought it's a 5-year project.
Yes, 5-year project
Not
with 1 million
million
funding for the 5 years.
But you're quite happily accepting of the 4 million?
I mean, I'll never say no to more funding. It means we can do more research and more testing on the site. But currently, as it stands, it's a 5-year project with £1 million of funding.
Okay, so these ditches.
Yes. Please excuse the fact that it's growing algae at a rapid rate. It's because it's been so hot and sunny.
Yeah. Would the stuff that you'd be pulling out of these ditches, is it spoil? Is it rubbish? Is it what they've just thrown rubbish in? What are you expecting to
generally
find?
So the Romans are kind of quite lazy, and they've got quite a disposable culture, especially the military, similar to modern disposable culture, because they have imperial supply lines constantly giving them new goods and replacements for anything that they break. And they just throw all of the stuff, once it's broken, they just chuck it away. They don't often try and repair things. There are some instances where we find evidence of repair on specific kinds of pottery or on leather goods. They want to make the most of those resources, but oftentimes, once it breaks, they just kind of lob it away. They don't have bin collection days as we do, and rather than going somewhere else and digging a rubbish pit, making their own kind of mini landfill, they just chuck it over the walls and they throw it into the ditches, and so the ditches are full of all the material that they've thrown away. We've been getting parts of leather shoes coming out recently. A couple of days ago I found one end of a wooden hairpin.
Oh, nice.
A whole variety of pottery from your sort of everyday kitchen pots that you'd use for cooking and storing food, up to really nice fine tablewares, the good china you'd bring out when someone was coming to visit, or to show off that you were up to speed on the latest trends in homewares and interior design. So we've got a really good mix of stuff coming out of these ditches. As we go down, we're going to get more of that, because these fills that we've dug out at the moment, all the soil we've removed so far, is the last material to go into those ditches. So some of it doesn't date to the Roman period.
Nope.
It's just got Roman material mixed into it. We're now at a level, we're into the deposits that were forming during the Roman occupation. So from here down, it will get far more rich in terms of material culture.
Okay, so how far down? So in context then, how deep was this ditch?
So this ditch should be at least 2 metres deep. So we've got another 1.5 metres to go inside this one to go down.
Okay.
This one just behind us is already at the base. The guys are just finishing the excavation in here today. So you can see the one right in front of the fort wall is the largest. It's the most extensive, most important defensive ditch. The second one out, much smaller. It's still there. It's still an obstacle for anyone trying to cross this landscape and attack the fort, but it doesn't have to be the same substantial size.
Okay. So that's 2 metres up.
Yeah.
And that's 2 metres down.
Yes.
So it is a deep ditch.
Yes.
It just doesn't seem very deep.
No, so this is, like I say, we're only about 0.5 metre, 80 centimetres down inside this at the moment.
Okay.
So it will be taller than me when it's done.
Okay. So this wall here.
Yeah.
What's that?
Unfortunately, it's not a wall. It is also a field drain, but a much more substantial one. So we have the clay pipes that you're asking about in there. We have a system of ceramic pipe field drains, but we also have a few of these much more substantial stone cundies that get put in. So this is put in the late 1800s by Clayton, who owned the big house over at Chester's Fort. He acquired Magna Fort in the late 1800s, and while he cared about the Roman archaeology, he also cared about making money off of his land, and so he put in drainage systems.
Okay. So all of these cobbles here.
Yes.
Why are they there?
So in this band here, we are actually...
Is that natural?
No. So we're actually looking at the very beat-up surface of a Roman road. Here.
Oh, right.
So in some of the other parts of the site, they are less definitively a road. Here, because it's wide enough and they are packed in enough, we're looking at the Roman road surface here. So the north gate is just behind us, just outside of our trench. So you have to imagine, originally there would have been a gateway coming out the fort here with a big road running out to the north.
Yeah.
And then branching off of that to the side, we have this secondary road, which means you could walk around the outside of the fort while still being protected because you're inside the system of ditches.
Aye, because that's not like that, is it?
No.
Right, so that's just...
Yeah, so over there we've got a much narrower band of cobbling, which is more likely to be consolidating material that the Romans or later occupants of the site have put in to sort of solidify the ground to stop it all sinking and collapsing into the ditch next door. This one, it's a much broader width, there's much more cobbles in there packed in, so that's an actual road surface.
Okay. Are you loving it?
Yeah.
You mentioned the wooden...
Hairpin.
Hairpin.
Yes.
Obviously wooden because of the anaerobic soil.
Yes.
The black gold.
Yeah.
Is that prevalent across this region? Or just in Vindolanda and here?
No, it's definitely more widespread than people think. We are known for it because we excavate into it so frequently, but excavations at other sites along the wall have encountered little pockets of it, but they don't always have capacity or plans to dig into those deposits because obviously once you dig into anaerobic soil, you then have to appropriately care for all of the artefacts that come out. All of the wood and leather and other organic material that we recover has to go very rapidly into our labs over at Vindolanda and go through various conservation treatments for it to be stable and survive long term in the museum.
Okay, question for you, because if you don't know, ask, and if you never ask, you'll never know.
Yeah.
Anaerobic soil, is it purely natural or man sort of like helped create them conditions to make it anaerobic soil?
It can form on its own. Peat bogs are frequently anaerobic, for example.
Okay.
At Vindolanda it's obviously forming, and at Magna as well, it's obviously forming in areas that we are occupying, so it is to do with a combination of how fast the ditches are filling in, along with the natural conditions that are going on. Anaerobic if it sits exposed, so if the ditch filled in and then sat at that depth with no water sitting on top of it or no other capping material to protect those soils, would stop being anaerobic.
Right.
So it's filling in
So
with the right geological conditions, water conditions, soil conditions from the area, but then it's filling in it in a way that it then gets covered again quite quickly and it stops and it just sits as a deposit.
So the Romans helped create them conditions which is like little pockets of gold dust
Yes,
for you
so
guys.
Vindolanda, for example, in the transition from the timber forts to the stone forts,
Yeah.
they put down 1/2 metre of clay on the
Right,
site,
and that- is that capping
which
material?
caps all of the anaerobic deposits below. So that's a sort of a boundary line. Now the impacts of climate change, it's no longer acting as a sufficient cap.
And that's why.
And that's why they're starting to rot. So the uppermost timber forts at Vindolanda, the last timber forts that are built, the ones immediately below that clay, are now no longer surviving as timber.
Okay.
We're finding remnants of them, and we know they're there because we've excavated them before. But you now have to go deeper down to get to soil that's not been impacted and dried out.
But we're not interested in Vindolanda. We're interested in Roman Magna, aren't we?
Unfortunately, I can't tell you how they've built Magna because I've not dug it yet.
I think I've picked the brains enough there. Right, it's okay. Well, you know what? Been an absolute pleasure. And anyone who comes to the Roman Army Museum, they can come and have a chat. Each and every person come and have a chat with you, can't they?
Absolutely. 9:30 till 4, we are out here digging every day, weather dependent. Obviously, if it's blowing a gale and we've got a storm blowing in off the Atlantic, we are unlikely to be out here. But if the weather is like this or better, we are out here
And you can
9:30
come
till
and
4.
watch.
You can come out from the museum. You can see we're really close to it this year. Have a chat, see what's going on. You might see artefacts coming out the ground right in front of you.
Okay.
Come say hello.
Yeah, this should be. I really enjoyed that. Thanks very much. So that wall, would that be like a guard walking around the whole thing then, do you reckon? Or is it like a proper road going somewhere?
So the roads out here, they wouldn't necessarily be for patrol.
No, okay.
It's more just for circumnavigating the outside of the fort. So if you're coming in and you need to get stuff around the outside, rather than having to go all the way out beyond all the ditches and around.
Because you've got ditches everywhere,
Yeah.
right?
So rather than having, if you imagine, we've got 2 ditches visible in the site. There's up to 5
Is there?
out here across this part of the field.
So it's a shortcut.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Rather than having to walk all the way up there into what's now the next field,
Lovely.
walk around the outside of all the ditches and then back into the fort.
Okay.
You've got a little shortcut round here, sandwiched in between the ditches. You're relatively safe from attack because you're between all these defensive ditches as well. And it lets you just sort of nip round the outside to the other gateway if you need to get round, or out to something in the civilian settlement.
Good. When does the dig finish?
So we are
This
digging.
year?
We are digging until the 26th of September this year.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
So where do you reckon? Well, are you staying exactly in the same place and going down? Is that it?
So
Or are you
this trench,
extending?
it will get longer.
Okay.
So we've taken off most of the turf, but not all of the turf. You can see where we've still got some to remove over there. So the trench will get longer. We will go down inside all of the ditches all the way to the base of all of them.
Okay.
If everyone digs really fast and we get that finished really quickly, we'll make a head start on next year's planned excavations inside the fort itself. So we'll be moving up to the south of us inside the fort platform to the southwest quadrant.
Happy days. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming to see us.
I've got wood here.
You can't do anything about it because there's a field drain under your knees.